This is the Franchise QB Podcast, where we empower entrepreneurs to win big in franchising. We huddle up weekly to educate our audience about the most successful small business model ever created, franchising.
Welcome to the Franchise QB Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Halpern, a 20-year industry veteran and entrepreneur. My mission is for listeners to achieve their American dreams of creating wealth and independence through franchise ownership. Every week, we speak with franchisees, franchisors, or vendors that support the industry. Thank you for joining us, and let's get started. Joining us in the huddle today is Colin Sprake, CEO of Local Handyman. Welcome to the show, Colin.
Yeah, my pleasure to be here, Mike. Thank you so much.
It is so great to have you here. So you are a serial entrepreneur from South Africa with over 3 decades of experience in building multiple multi-million-dollar businesses globally in many industries and economies. Very impressive. You founded a company called Make Your Mark Training back in 2004. So you've been at that for over 20 years. And that's a business that assists other businesses to realize their full revenue and profit potential and do it with heart. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit, making a positive impression on their businesses, staff, colleagues, vendors, families, customers, the entire kind of ecosystem, including the community. You're also a global authority on assisting companies to grow from 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures, and beyond. This is extremely impressive. You've coached and mentored over 110,000 business owners and know the vital components to growing a massively successful business balanced with a great family life, which is really impressive. You currently own 14 businesses, one of which is on its way to becoming the first billion-dollar business in less than 2 years. You've been mentored by Sir Richard Branson and some of the dragons and sharks from entrepreneurial TV shows, Dragon's Den and Shark Tank. Today, we're going to discuss your franchise, Local Handyman. There are lots of independent handyman companies and also some franchise players. Why did you decide, of all things, to enter the handyman space, Colin?
Hey, Mike, it's super good. And thank you for the kind introduction as well. The big piece for me, Mike, is that the world is changing. It's changing quickly with the whole AI and where AI is going and everything else. Yep. I like anything to do with hands because hands aren't going anywhere anytime. So handyman, I also own a septic company as well, like toilet trailers, vacuum trucks, what have you. So I got in the handyman space because one of my first businesses I ever launched was a handyman business. I was 16 years old. I went to my grandma's complex that she lived in. There were like about 100 units in this complex. And I'm like, I'm very handy. I'm going to launch a business. And it was called Diffy, D-I-F-Y, which stands for Do It For You. And I became like super busy. And eventually I was like full-time Saturday, full-time Sunday during school, and then of course at school during the week. And that just got the bug. I mean, I've always been entrepreneurial, but that really got the bug in me on entrepreneurship. And now with where the world is at, so many people, they're good with doing this on their phones. That's about that's about the sum total of, technical ability for some people in terms of being a handy person. It's becoming, and of course there's baby boomers out there. This market's only going up and growing rapidly, which is the handyman space. Yep. I don't care how many companies are out there. There's way too much work for the number of companies.
Yeah, you mentioned the kids that are coming up and they're on their phones all the time, and they are definitely not learning how to fix things. So it's a really good point that this next generation is going to really need this service. So was there something like broken in the industry that you recognized, or was it just the potential based on the boomers and the kind of the new generation coming up that's fixated on the phones?
Yeah, Mike, it's a great question. I don't think anything was broken. I think that my background in business coaching, mentoring, and training, like for over 20 years now, I just looked at so many franchises that were out there, and I don't think they have the support. I really don't think they do. I have built a system now that supports the franchisee from the day they sign the franchise agreement to the day they renew 10 years later. And in terms of business coaching, mentorship, business groups, like there's nothing like in the industry. And I'm like, well, I want to go into this industry, number one, because I know the industry well. My whole background's engineering. I've done my own handyman before. It's only become more, there's more of a demand than there ever was, but yet there's no one that's really built the system the way we have. I've taken the best of the training world, best of the franchise world, and married them together to create a system and a support structure that I don't think anyone can touch. I just don't. I just know what we've built, and that's why we are so inundated. We get between 50 and 100 inquiries a week for franchises.
Wow. Yeah, that's really impressive. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting because most people, when they think in the handyman space, they think, well, I have to be a handyman myself. But you're not really looking for that avatar, are you? Exactly who are you looking for to become an owner with Local Handyman?
Yeah, we look so simply. If someone says to me, Colin, I'd love to buy one. I'm a handyman. I'm really good as a handyman. I'm like, I won't even sell you a franchise, because I don't want you in the van or in the truck. I want the guys out of the truck. So when we look at, and it can be ladies too. We have ladies that own franchises as well. What we look for are people that are typically W-2, leaving a corporate job, that want to go and own a business, they don't have a background. They don't even know which end of a hammer to hold, some of them, but they're looking for an opportunity. And we look for guys like that, Mike, and ladies like that. But we also look for people that are investors. You can be fully absentee in this business as well. Buy a franchise, put in a general manager, business development person, and they can run your territories for you. So this model is designed to scale. And I built the model the way I built the model. I had to revamp the model when I took the company over in 2003. Is the model is designed to scale, and I wanted to build a model that I would buy my own franchises. So last week I just signed my 4th territory.
Are those located in the U.S. or Canada?
In Canada right now. I'm very tempted by the end of the year. If someone doesn't buy Austin, I'm going to buy Austin because it's probably the best market in the US. And, nothing's really, we've had lots of inquiries for Austin, but I don't know if people are super conservative in that city or something, but there's lots of opportunity, and some of the best territories are in Austin by far.
Yeah, Austin's a great market, and especially in home services. So I think you're going to be boxed out of your own franchise opportunity, because I would bet that someone's going to step up and lock in that market. It's a really good one. So, Colin, you talked about your support and how that's a differentiator for you. And I've heard you use the word care being part of your competitive edge. What does that mean to you in terms of like hiring, service, and support?
Yeah, so I mean, of course, we have to be, in terms of all the things. So when I first got involved with Local Handyman on the 1st of August 2023, I looked at the business and said, you know what a business, because of my previous experience with Make Your Mark, what are business owners not good at? They're not good at doing bookkeeping on average. They're not good at doing their social media for majority of them. They're not good at technology. They're not good at hiring, and they not good at running ads. So I said, great, I'm going to bring all of that in-house. We'll charge you a fee for it, but we do all that for you. So you can go build a business and be the proper, go out and be high touch with your clients so that you can build great relationships. And that's how this business really builds. So those are the 5 things we bring in-house. And then we actually have a whole process for supporting our success partners. We don't call them franchisees. Our success partners on how to hire effectively. And we have a whole plan around that. It's called the hero hiring process for trades. Mike, it's our own proprietary system. And then once you're into our system, then our support around the groups that you get into, we have 3 levels of business mentorship groups. It starts off with the FTFS Startup Accelerator. FTFS, for everyone who's listening to this, stands for Follow the Freaking System Startup Accelerator, because that's what we want people to do, Mike. And then once you graduate into the multiple 6-figure businesses and 6-figure revenues, we put you into what we call our K Club advisory boards. And then once you get into the multi-million-dollar earnings, in terms of revenues, then we put you into what we call the M Club Summits, which meet at the office here once a quarter. Everything is built out in absolute detail, that when people see our support from, like I say, I'll say it again, from startup all the way through to your 10-year anniversary with us, there's no company out there I know that supports it to that level.
Yeah, that's interesting.
We support lots of franchises, or franchisors, but for us, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're in a business that's kind of unique in that there's usually more demand than supply, right? Everybody needs things fixed all the time. Homes are aging and deteriorating. And it becomes a business where, like you said, recruiting is so critical for the franchise owner because they're going to like live and die by the quality of handyman that they employ. And I like that you're taking a lot of the stuff off their plate it's noise in terms of like client acquisition and marketing, but you have to do it because you don't have a business if you don't have customers. So if you allow the franchise owner to focus on building those relationships, when you get your foot in the door and there's some trust, there's so many things I mean, I know it firsthand. We just had our handyman come out and I spent $5,000 between some lighting projects, some exterior wood rot, trim, painting. It just keeps like accumulating once you're like, oh, these guys are good at what they do. They charge a fair rate. They showed up on time. They, all that. So I can see if you allow your success partners to focus on that aspect of the business, they're going to be really wildly successful. So I want to touch on, part of the intro is you have coached over 100,000, 110,000, in fact, business owners. How have those years of experience kind of shaped the systems that you have built around the local handyman franchise?
Wow, Mike, it's shaped every aspect of Local Handyman. So what we've done is we've said, like I said, like we know what business owners are not good at. That only comes from the decades of experience through Make Your Mark. And then other pieces we brought in, all the business coaching groups were launched in Make Your Mark. And then also we have very in-depth training on how to do trade shows effectively, how to do sales, heart-centered sales effectively, exposure strategies. Like all my top intellectual property from Make Your Mark has been plugged into Local Handyman so that people go on a journey. So when we onboard somebody in our portal, the nice part, Mike, we don't require brick and mortar. So it's 6 weeks from the day you sign the franchise agreement to actually launching your first van, which is amazing in this industry. That whole portal we've built has every single step of the way what you need to do day by day, all the way from day zero, if you want to call it, or day one, all the way to the 6 week mark. And then through that, we actually build out a 30, 60, 90-day plan with you. And we build out that entire plan through the FTFS Startup Accelerator group. And we just get people on track. Mike, we just launched St. Louis a few weeks, like let's say 4 weeks ago.
Right.
It's incredible where they're at. They've got 2 guys, 2 vans, and they're already over 30 grand in revenue.
Wow. Impressive. Yeah, it's a
It's
quick start. I've heard you say that this isn't for like a chuck in the truck, someone who wants to hop in the van and kind of run the business. You want people that are going to work on the business and kind of scale it. People that want freedom and wealth, not just buying themselves a job. So can you elaborate a little bit more about what makes this a scalable business and not just like a side hustle?
Yeah, completely, Mike. I think the piece for me that makes it super scalable is it becomes independent of the owner. For sure, the owner can be the one that goes out and meets people, shakes hands, kisses babies, what have you, to grow
Right.
the brand and become the mayor of the town or the city. But if you're in the van, you cannot do that. That's not you. It's very difficult to scale sitting in your truck, because you got work to do. So at
Yep.
the end of the day, the model's scalable in the sense that we only start with minimum 3 territories, Mike. We don't allow people to buy 1 territory and see how it goes and then buy a second one. The economies of scale on 3 are exponentially different to a single territory, number one. And we want people to come in where they start with like 3 and then they scale to 15, 20, 30 territories over the course of the next 10 years, whatever number. I'm not looking for, let's just say, I know Austin very well. Let's say Austin is 9 territories. I'm not looking for 9 individual franchise owners in Austin. I'm actually looking for 1. I want 1 person to buy, at least start with us there, 3 territories, 4 or 5, and then buy the rest in the next couple of years, because your marketing strategies change when you own the city,
Yeah.
or it enhances them. You can do billboards, radio, TV, without having to get other franchisees on board to do like a co-op all together into terms of doing that kind of stuff. We have so many people that are owning cities right now. I'd rather have fewer franchisees and give them top-notch customer care and customer service than have 1,000 franchisees in the US. We could probably have 3,000 franchisees. I don't want that. I would rather have, let's say 250 franchisees that own all of the US.
Yeah.
And that's what we're
So
looking for. And each territory you own makes it.
so that way you can cultivate kind of deeper relationships with the fewer owners that are operating more geography. I get that. So let's touch on kind of the footprint. You have grown Local Handyman to, I mean, my information may be dated, at least 70 territories in the last 18 months. What's driving that kind of momentum? And do I have that footprint right?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's crazy how it has grown. Like let's give it more perspective here. Um, 9 months ago, we had one territory in the US,
Wow.
that was sold. Now, we're fast approaching 100 territories, and some are in contract and what have you right now, and we're busy going to be launching soon as well. The big piece, and what's driving that, Mike, is my relationship with people like you. I take the relationships very seriously. I look at every one of the consultants that I work with as a relationship that's absolutely top notch for me. I don't and I built that out over time. Like if you ask me what makes me so successful with all my companies, relationship equity. It's the relationships I have in my life. You can ask me, Colin, do you know a certain person? There's no longer 6 degrees of separation for me. It's like 1 degree of separation or two. I know so many people, and that's what I've done. I've leveraged those opportunities to grow all my brands. And Handyman's grown so quickly, personally, partly because of people like you, but also because of my own social media. I drive a lot of traffic through my own social media, and also just I I'm blessed, Mike. I wake up every single day and my inbox has got leads in it. I think
Well,
it's super great. And then I'm very much about automation. So if someone like yourself sends us leads, you get updated as the person goes through the system automatically, which is very unusual in this space. So I've built a lot of automation to support the people that refer us, and that make us one of their brands that they consistently promote. I want you to be fully updated on what's going on all the time.
yeah, it
And
makes sense. I think that whole level of communication between consultants and brands, as well as between you and your success partners, is critical because, I mean, it's a relationship business. You're signing a contract, but the idea is like, once we understand the rules, let's put that away and let's work together to win. And I also like how you encourage collaboration between your owners because that's how everyone gets better. Like there's the corporate relationship, and then there's a relationship that these success partners have with the other successful owners in the system where they can kind of help each other and rising tide floats the boats and all that kind of good stuff. So, Colin, I want to touch briefly on something you said earlier, the FTFS, follow the frickin' system, right? Like if you join a franchise, you're doing it intentionally because you haven't figured it all out on your own and you can benefit from the way of doing business, the culture, the systems, the technology, the people, the list goes on and on. In your view, why is the FTFS so critical to the success operating within a franchise model?
yeah, great question. I mean, for anyone listening to this, at the end of the day, you don't buy a franchise to do your own thing. You buy your franchise, we put the rails down for you. That's the system, and then all you're going to do is follow it. So we look for people that are like a locomotive, that's full of freaking energy and amazing, and they're just looking for rails to run on. We put the rails down so that they can run, Mike. That's the most important piece. And if you decide I want to use my own rails or decide to do things differently, that's honestly I've seen it in our own system where people decide they're not going to follow the system, Mike, and then like 3 months later, like, Colin, I think I should start following the system. I'm like, I don't know why you decided to do it your own way from day one. Next time just go buy a logo, buy a van, slap a logo on and try to do it
Yeah.
yourself. That's a lot of work, Mike. And I know with the people, the FTFS is my favorite statement. We use it at all our trainings. We have shirts with FTFS on it as well, because it's like, don't join us if you want to do it your way. For sure, be an entrepreneur, have some creativity, whatever. But in
Right.
the beginning, the first 90 days, just follow the freaking system. And that's for any franchise, that you purchase. I don't know why people that buy a franchise and decide to do it their own way. It's just
It
there's no
seems really
logic in that
counterintuitive. I don't know why people do that, but
completely.
as you know, it happens. So, let's talk a little bit about the item 19. If someone's kind of evaluating this, they have to get 3 territories to get in the system. What is that going to cost, like from a range standpoint, to kind of get started?
Yeah, so typically, Mike, it's about 100 grand it's 100 grand all in per territory. So the franchise fee varies. Typically on 3 territories, it's 50K a territory. And then on top of that would be 25K per territory in startup capital, then another 25K in operating capital, round figure 100K per territory, all in.
Okay, that makes sense. Colin, this has been awesome. I really appreciate your time. Anything else you want to add to the conversation before we wrap up today?
Not really, Mike. I think the piece for me would be, for people that are contemplating franchises, the way I look at it in very simple format is I look for people with hunger and hustle that can really follow the system. I look for people that have 4 key criteria or characteristics. They're decisive, they're committed, they're trainable, and they are resourceful. Probably the most important being resourceful. And then what you look for from any franchisor, what systems and what support do we have? A year ago we had 4 people on our team. We have 19 people now, Mike, supporting our success partners to where they need to go to. And I'll leave them with this thought, which I see this completely different because I haven't been in the franchise world probably for as long as you, Mike. And the one thing that I look at the franchise agreements, I don't even call them franchise agreements. I call them prenups. Like when you sign a contract with us, we get married. This is not like selling a car where at the end of the day, the car drives off the lot and you jump up and down, you made a sale. I'm married to you for the next 10 years. I need to know that you're the right partner for us, and culture is our number one thing, Mike. Every one of our success partners that comes on board has to be a fit for our culture, our core values, who we are as a company. And then we look at skill set, talents, all that kind of stuff they might have. But if they haven't got the culture, they don't match us core values wise, we don't even bring on franchisees like that. And people are like, wow. And my favorite statement around that is, you cannot teach a goldfish to climb a tree.
I like how you guys are forward thinking about building the support mechanism for the owners that you anticipate coming on. And obviously in the past 18 months, it's been quite a few, because to build a team like that and make that investment is telling to me as a franchise consultant, because you want to make sure that, the people that get in early benefit from that. They don't have like deficiencies as it relates to their training, their support, et cetera. And also the fourth characteristic you talked about, being resourceful. That's a big one. I mean, it's like, you'll do anything it takes to make this work, and having that grit, that drive, like you can't teach that. It's a behavior that's kind of learned, and, either you have it or you don't. So it's kind of good that you use that as a measuring stick when you're evaluating your partners. This has been great. So Colin, thank you so much for your time. If anyone listening would like to connect with Colin and his team to learn more about becoming a local handyman franchise owner, contact me at franchiseqb.com or on X at QBFranchiseQB. I'll get you connected. Thank you, Colin, so much for taking the time to get in the huddle with us today.
My sincere pleasure, Mike, and thanks to all the listeners as well. Thank you for listening, and sincerely look forward to supporting you in some way or form, because we are one of the fastest growing franchises I know. When you join our family, you'll understand what the word care truly means.
Excellent. Thanks, Colin.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you for listening to the Franchise QB podcast, where you're at the helm of your future as a franchise owner. If you enjoyed the content, please rate the show and recommend it to anyone that might be interested in franchising. Make sure to visit franchiseqb.com to subscribe to my newsletter and for an actionable playbook to go from walk-on to legend in your new business. Follow us on Twitter at QBFranchiseQB and join us every week for a new episode. See you next time.
Visit franchiseqb.com to take the next step of your journey towards wealth, independence, and franchise ownership. And remember, when working for the man gets old, you must do something bold. Thank you for listening.